Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast. The RTGAC is back, and today we're coming out with a lot of energy, baby. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm feeling pumped up. Let's freaking go, man. What is it, Tuesday? Let's go. It's so much this week. I know a lot of things, but what I do know is one thing. Tommy Aspinall, that is the one man who should be the undisputed heavyweight champion. We have a lot. We'll talk about him. We have a lot more to talk about. We got to talk about the Phillies, who have been looking absolutely terrible as of late. We will be reacting to UFC 304. We'll have some fight night predictions, and we'll be talking about the announcement of the UFC 306 card going into the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love have just got paid respective deals. We'll be talking about them. Cole will be giving a prediction on the USA women's basketball team, and we will be predicting their record going into the Olympics. And I'll be talking about the men's USA basketball team. Have they found their rhythm just after Kevin Durant came back and the blowout win over Serbia? Then Cole and I'll be jumping in as well to talk about the Carlos Estevez trade. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. The Philadelphia Phillies just traded for him. We'll talk about him also in just a second. Then we'll end it off, with Ryan's rant. Cole, I'm going to switch it right over. Actually, you know what? Before we switch over to the Phillies, how's it going? What are we doing? We're down the shore.
Yeah, down the shore this week. But I am happy to be here early. But, we're bringing the energy, so.
Bringing the energy, yes, indeed. So we're going to swing right into things. Cole, last time we talked, the Phillies went 2-4. Talk about this team.
Yeah, not a great showing at all. I thought they could end up getting the last two games with Minnesota, but, you go into those games and you need the bullpen to, shut them down there. 3 runs, 4 runs, 1 run, 8 runs. The 8 runs against Cleveland was phenomenal. Tyler Phillips pitched an absolute gem. I'm so glad we don't have Mercado anymore. Phillips was absolutely phenomenal in that game. And then, Cleveland, you look at the Cleveland game, Alvarado again, this problem keeps showing up. He can't go in the late innings. He's got to be like a 7th or 8th inning guy. I don't really like him in the 9th, just in general. He's just been bad, just flat out. He just has not performed well these past couple games. And he just got to clean it up. And that's why I'm glad we got Estevez, to just do his job in the 9th inning. And then the New York game, at this point, you just got to flush it. You got to try and get the next 2 games because they're very winnable. Aaron Nola against Garrett Cole tonight, and then Christopher Sanchez against Nestor Cortez. You should definitely win that one. Wheeler got absolutely rocked, and then, Stubbs was pitching at the end. It was just a bad game all around. I really don't have much more on this. Just got to clean it up, both pitching-wise and hitting. Especially the starters. The starters haven't been great as of late. We talked about them in the first half. They were absolutely incredible, but recently they've just been not great at all.
The hitting has just been abysmal. When you look at the hitting from the last time we've talked, it's been 3, 4, 1, 8, which you did good in, 3, and then 4 again. And then you're not giving up that many runs. Like, I can see 5, 3, 4, 14's abysmal. That's terrible. But you got to hit the ball. Your payroll is so much money when it comes to hitting. Your team has completely said, screw defense, we want to hit the baseball. And it just seems like they're in this slump as of late. As like JT Realmuto comes back, you trade for Austin Hayes, who we haven't seen that much of. He's been hitting in the bottom of the lineup as of late, so not really much you could say about him. But Realmuto hasn't shown anything. I'm very disappointed in Nick Castellanos, Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm. Those guys have not shown much over the past couple of weeks. I called out Kyle Schwarber last week. I'm calling out these 3 guys. We have not seen anything from them. Harper's been fine. Trey Turner's obviously been great. He does what he does. But those 3 guys, Stott, we were expecting a big year out of him, and, halfway into the year, he's batting around 230. Come on, you can't be doing that when you're looking for a new contract. Alec Boehm, he was in a really good hot streak, but now it just looks like he's getting a bit colder, which I really don't want to see from him. I think that he should be doing better. And then Nick Castellanos. I mean, he's batting towards the bottom of the lineup, and he has been just non-existent. He's batting around 230, 240, something around there. I mean, you got to figure. Yeah.
I will say Castellanos has been slowly.
He has been slowly improving. Not a bad week. They had him as the Philly of the week, which I can't see how. They must have you really randomly threw the dart at the board for that one. I mean, I don't see what he has done to deserve that honor. Not that it is much of an honor, as it's a local thing, but that's neither here nor there. The pitching, Cole, I mean, I can't disagree with you. It hasn't been great. The closing pitchers have not been great as of late, but that's why we traded for Carlos Estevez, as you just mentioned. We'll get into him in just a bit. Not really much more on the Phillies. I mean, just got to put the bat on the ball. I mean, it's easier said than done, obviously. But, I mean, these guys are getting paid. A lot of these guys are getting paid $20 million to figure that out. So I'm not the one that is going to figure it out for them.
Yeah, and you got to figure it out quickly before you go on this 10-game road streak.
Exactly, which is what you've been talking about. And, yeah, you get today, you have tomorrow, and then you're right on the road on Friday. So you got to figure it out. You're pretty much all on the road in August, and then – yeah, I mean, what's your lead in the division? You have a 8.5 game lead. I mean, you've dropped around 2 games. You had a 2-game advantage or 10.5 game advantage, whatever it was. Not that this 8.5 game advantage is going to go away in the blink of an eye, but it's obviously something that you should be looking out for with the Braves. I believe they're 3-7 in their last 10 games, but either way, anybody can get hot at any time, and still. Anyway, any final word, Cole?
No, I got nothing.
All right, so we're going to transition over to the UFC. Obviously, we had UFC 304 this past weekend. Had to stop the stream a little bit early, but it's all good. I want to start here. I'll start. Cole, I'll transition over to you for anything else. I'll start with something on the main card, Gregory Rodriguez versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Not really much of a great fight. I'm just going to break down the main card, and I'll do one of the prelims that I thought was very, very interesting. Well, obviously, you guys know what I'm talking about. Gregory Rodriguez versus Christian Leroy Duncan. That was a war. I mean, I picked CLD to win this fight, but, Rodriguez dominated everywhere. He gave him this big, massive bruise on his forehead where he was gushing with blood. So that kind of got the judges to go in his favor. Not really much on that fight. Then now I'll go to the Arnold Allen versus Gija Chikadayas, which was a interesting fight for Arnold Allen, coming off a 2-fight losing streak, obviously losing to Max Holloway and others in that 2-fight losing streak. But he comes in here, he loses the first round on stand-up, and then in the second and third round, he does a really good job when it came to striking. I thought he did a great job landing hooks, landing jabs. His blocking was very great. He just kept trying to go for these head kicks, which I thought was just a little weird. I mean, only a few of them were connecting, but I thought he did a great job blocking. I thought he did a great job landing jabs, which won him the second and third round. Very weird about how he did not go to the ground. He was a lot better of a wrestler than Gija, and I thought if he stood up with him for the most part, those significant strikes were going to land. Definitely a few significant strikes. He got hit by a front kick, I believe, once. But, for the most part, he was able to block the kicks. He was able to make sure he didn't get hit by too many significant strikes. And he landed enough to win the judges over and win me over in the second and third round. I completely agree with the judges who all scored it 29-28 to him winning the second and third rounds. So I would definitely take Arnold Allen to get back on that winning streak. And then I move over here. I'm going to move over to Mohamed Makhachev versus Manuel Kopp, which was a disgrace of a fight. I got a lot to say about Makhachev, and I'm going to get into it right now. Well, not a lot, but I have a lot you guys get what I'm trying to say. It's not great things about him. You guys come into this week with the biggest hype out of almost any fight. This is up there with the hype of Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blaydes, Bilal Muhammad, Leon Edwards. And you guys have to be – I have never – in all my time watching the UFC, which has been a couple of years, I have never seen two guys have to be restrained from fighting each other before the fight happens in the middle of the octagon. I have never seen it. you build up all of this tension. You guys hate each other, and then you come out in the first round and you collectively throw about 5 punches. What the hell is that? How do you throw about no punches? They come out like dogs, like a bunch of fighting dogs, running at each other. And they stop like they're running at a brick wall. And then they just do nothing for the entire first round. And I'm not really going to break down much of this fight because there's nothing to break down. I believe that Makhachev won this fight, but the fact that one judge gave it 30-27, that is actually ridiculous. Some people say that Khabib won this fight. And, now Makhachev is saying that he's not going to be re-signed by the UFC. Dana White said that the PFL just got a great fighter, which obviously implies that he is not going to be re-signing with the UFC. Not sure why he didn't try to negotiate a deal, or maybe this UFC just didn't want to negotiate a deal before this fight. Obviously, Paddy Pimblett did that. We'll get into him in just a second. But I don't blame the UFC. He's not that big of a star where you need to cause all these problems. I get he's 13-0 and all that, and I get would be next in line for a flyweight championship opportunity. But I mean, there's not really a reason to keep him around when he causes this many problems. It just doesn't make that much sense. He's fighting the team of cop in the fighter lobby or whatever of the hotel. He's baiting them to taking pictures with them because of religion and stuff like that. And then he goes and sucker punches them. I mean, what the hell are you doing? And why would you admit that? Obviously, people are going to know, but why would you admit that in the post-fight press conference? Why would you talk about something like that? And it should be next in line for a flyweight championship opportunity, and he blew it because he was being an idiot. Now he's begging on Twitter for the UFC to give him another contract. That's not how this works. When Conor McGregor did this to Khabib Nurmagomedov, the UFC didn't do much about it. You want to know why? Because he's Conor McGregor. You're not Conor McGregor. You're not on that level, man. You can't do that sort of stuff. You're not champion. You're not, stuff like that. The casual UFC fan, like Cole, does not even know your name. You cannot be doing stuff like that. Anyway, getting into the actual fight. Paddy Pimblett with a first-round submission on King Green, which was an incredible submission. Paddy Pimblett was some of the best BJJ in the entire lightweight division. Not sure why King Green shot for a takedown there in that fight. That was pretty ridiculous in my opinion. But I think it was because Paddy Pimblett was beating him on the striking. Paddy Pimblett was doing a really good job blocking, landing combinations. King Green came out swinging like everyone expected to, but then Paddy Pimblett stood with him. I did not think Paddy was going to stand with him. I thought his goal or his way to getting him to the ground was just going to be shooting for takedowns off a counter. But King Green shot for the takedown, and then a great guillotine attempt. But then he obviously got that right leg over his over King Green's head and was able to transition into that triangle armbar, which was great. I think King Green was already out by the time he transitioned, but that's neither here nor there. And he was able to get that submission, and just a great win for Paddy the Baddy. Now ranked number 15 in the lightweight division, which is great for him. Obviously, you have your Paddy Pimblett haters and all that. It is what it is. Not really much to, I don't really hate him. I'm not a fan of him, but I also don't hate him at all. It is what it is. He said what he said in the past. What are you going to do? And then you move on to the co-main event. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. Tommy Aspinall, baby. That is the real heavyweight champion. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what, what the record books say, what paper says. Tom Aspinall is the real heavyweight champion. Comes out. Curtis Blades couldn't even go for a takedown before Tommy Aspinall had him on the ground. Beautiful combination by Tommy Aspinall. Knocked him straight to the ground. People are saying, and Curtis Blades himself are saying it was a controversial stoppage. Tom Aspinall, I thought, explained it beautifully. When you have 250 pounds of a man on top of you swinging away and you can't defend yourself, I don't care if you're out or not, you're done. Curtis Blades was not defending himself off the ground and pound. Tom Aspinall had about 20 punches in there in the span of 10 seconds. You were done. I don't care what you say. Tom Aspinall won that fight easily. He retains the heavyweight championship. Just a great showing from Tom Aspinall. I found it so hilarious how he called out John Jones. He said, "Hey, John, I don't hate you. I just think I'm better than you. So let's fight." But obviously, we're probably going to get that fight in 2025 because John Jones has to fight Stipe Miocic. And I'll talk about this just a little bit. Cole, I don't know if you'd agree with me. I think you probably would. That a guy, the interim heavyweight champion, since February 2020, which is the last time John Jones fought, has won the interim heavyweight championship off of what people said the most dangerous heavyweight, Sergey Pavlovich, and then defended the interim heavyweight champion as well. And then when John Jones won the undisputed championship, he beat probably the second or third best heavyweight in the world, Ciryl Gane, because Francis Ngannou left the UFC. I mean, what holds more merit? Which holds more prestige? The interim heavyweight champion, who has done more since the undisputed champion has fought, or the undisputed champion? I would say the interim champion right now. I think you'd agree, Cole.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
I mean, yeah.
Tom Aspinall.
And then the welterweight championship fight: Belal Muhammad, Leon Edwards. Wow, Belal wins the welterweight championship. Listen, I said coming into this fight, I said Leon was going to win, but I said if Belal does want to win, and I said if Leon wants to win too, they have to put pressure on each other. Whoever put most pressure on each other was probably going to end up winning this fight, and that was Belal Muhammad. He came at Leon Edwards. I said that Leon Edwards did not do a good job fighting on his back foot, and I was 100% right about that. Belal Muhammad dominated him. He was able to get him in the striking because Leon Edwards was not able to defend himself on that back foot. And I'm so tired of the people who don't understand how Leon Edwards got taken down in this fight. Let me tell you something. Kamaru Usman, I guess you could say is known as a wrestler, is not better at wrestling than Belal Muhammad. I'm sorry to say that. Colby Covington, not better at wrestling than Belal Muhammad. I said it coming into this fight. Leon Edwards was stuffing some of the worst takedown attempts I have ever seen. Then he comes in with an actual wrestler against Belal Muhammad. I said you better be ready for it. He was not ready for it. Leon got a little too confident in the ring. He thought he could just defend any takedown that Belal Muhammad was willing to do, and he got overconfident in there. You can't do that. You just can't do that on a guy who has won 10 straight fights in a row. I get he's a boring fighter, but you just can't do stuff like that. Belal Muhammad did exactly what I said he needed to do to end up winning this fight, and he ended up doing it. Leon Edwards did the complete opposite. I don't know why the ESPN panel gave Leon Edwards the first round. There's no way that he won that first round. I don't believe it at all. I only believe Leon Edwards won that third round. And then, they were saying, there could have been controversy because of the fifth round where he landed those elbows, which probably broke Belal Muhammad's nose. No, that didn't win him the fifth round. Just because you land a couple elbows in there and bloody the guy up does not mean you won the round. Now, I thought he could have potentially finished the fight. That's a whole different story. But, I mean, he did not win that round. He only won the third round. It was 4-1. Don't say that he won that fifth round. Absolutely ridiculous right there. I thought the ESPN panel was way wrong in there when they said there could have been controversy. I really would have hoped the judges would not have given Leon Edwards that fight. But now, what's next for the welterweight division? I think right now you have to give the championship shot to Shaka Ramanov. I mean, who else really is there? He's 18-0 with 18 finishes. I understand he doesn't really have that number one contender championship victory, but at this point, he's proven that he's a worthy contender. And I would also make the argument that Islam Makhachev won the fight won a fight over Bobby Green, which earned him a lightweight championship opportunity. And now he's probably the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. So I don't really know why people are saying that, Shavkat needs a top 5 fight to get there. Once again, Islam got his championship shot after beating Bobby Green. Then I would do Kamaru Usman versus Wonder Boy, and I would do Leon Edwards versus Ian Gary. Jack Della Maddalena is not going to be fighting in the next 7 months. I know he hurt his arm or something like that, so he will not be fighting anytime soon. Leon versus Ian Gary, and then Wonder Boy versus Kamaru Usman. Winners face each other. Then the winner of that fight faces Bilal Muhammad or Shafkat. I rambled on for a little bit. Cole, anything on this card?
I'll just cover the title fights, Ryan.
All right.
Yeah, Tom Aspinall, he's the best heavyweight fighter there is. John Jones, I agree with you, should be stripped of the heavyweight title. He absolutely cooked Curtis, but I will say, my predictions were swapped. I had the underdog in the first fight, and then I had the first round knockout in the second fight, which, it's all right. It's all right.
It's all good.
Yeah, and then Leon versus Bilal, this is a great fight to watch. Bilal just pretty much dominated, like you said. I thought he could have even won the third round, to be honest with you, Ryan. I thought that's how dominant he was. Leon could just didn't get enough strikes off of him. Bilal consistently on the attack. That's all I got.
All the Bilal haters are pretty much quiet today. And how could they not? He just won the welterweight championship. I will I will hope people do give him a chance. I'm not a Bilal hater by any sense. I don't think he's the most exciting fighter in the world. But it is what it is. But everyone hated Tyron Woodley when he won. Everybody wanted Darren Till to win the welterweight championship off of him. He didn't end up winning. But everybody didn't like Tyron Woodley because he was a boring fighter. Nobody liked that Kamaru Usman was champion because he was a boring fighter. No one liked Leon Edwards winning the championship because he was a boring fighter. No one liked Bilal Muhammad winning because he's a boring fighter. And I would say that everybody turned out to like Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards because they put on a few title defenses and everybody got used to them. I would hope people give him a chance to see if he can, win a cup, to see if he's a legit champion. And if he doesn't win, then haters are justified to, giving him criticism. It is what it is. Let's move on, though. Let's quickly move on. UFC Fight Night predictions. Main event, Corey Sandhagen, Umar Nurmagomedov. I feel like you give this fight to Umar to try to get up the bantamweight ranks and to maybe be the next fighter to fight either Sean O'Malley or Merab, because that would give you a top 2 victory win. I feel like you have Umar win. I have Shara Makhmedov. He's 13-0. I'd have him winning that fight. I feel like I'm going to take Chito Vera to win over Davison Figueiredo. He was really tough against Sean O'Malley. While Figueiredo is tough himself, I don't know if Figueiredo can beat, one of those. I don't know if he can beat one of those top bantamweight fighters right now. So we'll have to see. I can't see Tony Ferguson winning. Michael Chiesa, a heavy favorite against Tony Ferguson. For Tony Ferguson's sake, I really hope he can at least do well in this fight. I'm going to take Michael Chiesa to win. And then I'll take Mackenzie Dern to win her fight as well. And then I'll take Joel Alvarez to beat Elvis Brenner as well. Cole, any predictions on Fight Night?
I'll stick with Umar. I just don't see him losing. 17-0, should be 18-0. Heavy favorite as well. I am going to go with Chito Vera as well. I do think that's again, he did play well against Suga, but I just don't see Figueiredo, putting up a great fight. Then you got Magomedov. Again, undefeated. I'm going to piggyback off what you said. I'm going to take him. And then, you know what? I just want to see Tony Ferguson win.
I know.
It'd be so awesome. So I might as well just take Tony Ferguson there.
Oh, that's a very bold prediction, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's just for fun, to be honest.
I got you.
If it wins, I can say. And then I'll just take Dern and Alvarez.
All right. What do you call it? So, yeah, we'll see. Very good fight card, though. One I'm very, very much looking forward to. Cole, there's so much this weekend when it comes to combat sports. We have on Friday we have PFL. which is going to be fun because we have the main event I'm very excited for, Dennis Goltsov versus Tim Johnson. Tim Johnson, obviously former UFC heavyweight contender. And yeah, you have the PFL, you have Friday Night SmackDown on Friday. Then Saturday, you have UFC Fight Night. You have Terrence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov. And then you have SummerSlam. We have so much going on Friday and Saturday. I don't know how I'm going to cover all this. But anyway, moving on to UFC, what do you call it? Riyadh season 306. O'Malley versus Merab is the main event of 306. Now, I talked about this on YouTube. I did expect this main event. I think people were a little disappointed in Holloway versus Topuria, but they need that for 307. So why is everybody getting so upset over that? I really am not sure. It just doesn't make that much sense to get so upset because they need that for 307. Merab, though, opening as a minus 160. Odds obviously are subject to change, but I find that very interesting. I definitely could see Merab winning this fight. Now, do I hope he wins this fight? No, because Sean O'Malley is my favorite fighter at this current moment in time. So yeah, I really don't hope Merab wins, but he is very, very dangerous. He's going to be the toughest challenge that Sean O'Malley has. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Now, the odds were different last night. I think they changed. Alexa Grasso now minus 105. Shevchenko minus 115. I expect Shevchenko to win that fight, but I'll obviously have predictions later. We finally have Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez at featherweight. So, hopefully Ortega is going to be okay. He doesn't have any problems. And the rest of the card, I mean, not really much to say about that. Obviously, Dana wants all the Mexican fighters on because it's Mexican Independence Day. Also, Canelo Alvarez fighting at the T-Mobile Arena just about a mile away, which is going to be very, very interesting. But I mean, this card isn't that exciting, this is kind of how I expected the card to be. There's only 10 fights on the card. I mean, it is what it is. Like, what did everybody expect? Did everybody expect every single champion to defend? Like, I don't know what people were really expecting. I said on Twitter that, the prelims were okay at best, which is true. I mean, the prelims are not that great, but, what were you really expecting? This card already was costing $16 million. It's not like you're pulling out, all the top money fighters to win, because how much money are you really willing to spend when you've already spent $16 million before you even got to the show, which is before paying the fighters. So it doesn't really make that much sense to pull out all the big money fighters for this. But this is kind of what we expected. I mean, O'Malley title defense, Shevchenko title defense. I like that we're getting Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. A little upset that Dan Ige didn't get on this card. He was promised this opportunity. Very happy that Raul Rojas Jr. is on, and we get to see him for free. 9-1, one of the best up and coming prospects right now. He's definitely up there with Tablet and Bo Nickel. So I'm definitely very happy to see him fight.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah, Luis. But anyway, that's 306. I mean, Cole, anything to comment?
Nah, I don't got much to comment on it.
Yeah,
this is the one with the sphere, right?
What? Yeah, the sphere.
Yeah.
What we expected. Anyway, We're going to transition. We'll transition over to the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love. They have been paid their money. Now, let me pull up here this Tua contract really, really quick. I think this came out right after. When did this come out? I don't even know when the news came out. 1 second. This transition is terrible. But yeah, this is the richest deal in Dolphins history for Tua Tagovailoa, a 4-year, $212.4 million extension. So this is going to be a $51.1 million annual salary, which is very great for Tua Tagovailoa. He gets the deal done. He gets the deal with the Dolphins done. And I would say this works out for both sides. This deal is very, very good for what quarterbacks are getting right now. All quarterbacks are trying to leap each other in annual salary. Tua Tagovailoa not doing that. He's below, the highest paid, which is now Jordan Love and Joe Burrow. Brock Purdy still has to get paid. Dak Prescott still has to get paid. Trevor Lawrence's deal is going to kick in. So this deal is going to look very, very good in 2 years. Because obviously Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott still have to get paid. I just mentioned that. But I would argue, I would say the Dolphins aren't paying that many guys. Their salary is pretty low. They're not, they don't really have anybody on defense. They lost a lot of guys on defense. They lost Christian Wilkins. They had a lot of leftover money to pay. I'm just glad for them that they were able to get this done. The offense for the Dolphins should look pretty similar. They should be a fast-moving offense. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they do pretty much the same thing when it comes to as their skill set. So they definitely should be OBJ, adding OBJ. So plus OBJ, you pretty much have the same offense. You should be a very quick, fast-paced offense that should be able to tire out defenses, make them move back, make them drop in coverage, which does allow Tua Tagovailoa or does allow guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to work their way up the field, along with a Raheem Mostert. And guys like that. So, not really much has changed for the Dolphins. It's just that Tua Tagovailoa is now paid and happy. And same thing for Jordan Love. Not much is changing. Jordan Love, though, the highest paid, tied as the highest paid quarterback in NFL history with Joe Burrow, $55 million per year, a record-breaking deal. And once again, I'm trying to pull that up very, 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 very quickly. Oh my goodness. Well, what's the deal? 4 years, 212, I think it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Or 220 maybe? Hold on. Let me just do this. 220.
4 years,
yeah,
220.
Yeah. What is it? 4 years what?
220.
I thought so. Okay, I couldn't find it, like the full deal. Anyway, but yeah, nothing really else has changed. Who are the Packers paying? They just signed Josh Jacobs. Running backs don't get paid. You just got McKinney from the Giants, but he's a safety. You're not paying receivers because you're trying to do the Patrick Mahomes thing.
Jair? Are they paying Jair?
Jair, he's got probably a below market. I would assume he has a below market contract. But you're not paying your receivers. You just lost Bakhtiari. You don't pay your receivers anything because most of them are on rookie deals. Your defense, as I just mentioned, you're paying McKinney. Cole, he brought up Alexander, but once again, I think he's on a below market contract. Not really much else I could really think of on it. I know
McDuffie, they might be paying Kenny Clark a little bit.
Oh yeah, Kenny Clark. I forgot about Kenny Clark. I had him in my mind. I just couldn't think about it. Anyway, yeah, you're not paying anybody. So this deal doesn't really matter unless you start paying people in the next few years. But once again, in a few years, this contract will probably be probably will definitely be a top 5 contract, but it won't look terrible. It will not look terrible in a couple years. So, when the salary cap goes up, you'll be able to pay extra guys, and this contract will not look terrible. So it is what it is for him. Not much change for these guys. I'm glad that they got paid. The risk that you're taking with Jordan Love, though, is that you don't know if he's just a one-year wonder, and if he is, then that would be a disaster for the Packers. Which is why I think what the Falcons are doing are obviously a risk. But I think the Falcons' plan is to keep Cousins for 2 years, trade him away with a below market contract, then move on to Michael Penix. That's what I think their plan is. But with the Packers, they had to go in a pretty much different direction where Jordan Love could only play on his contract for 1 year. Then you have to pay him the money, which obviously he really raised his value after that Cowboys game. And obviously he played pretty well in the 49ers game as well. So he really raised his value. Great for these guys. Great to see them get paid. And this just looks worse for the Dallas Cowboys. There's no way that Dak deserves $60 million. But, he has them by the nuts, so he can really do whatever he wants with them. If I'm the Cowboys, though, I'd move on from Dak, honestly. At what point are you going to break through? If he doesn't do it this year, which I don't see it happening this year, then why would you pay him? It just doesn't make any sense to keep him around. I would just honestly move on to Trey Lance and then just try and rebuild because you pay Dak, you're handicapped at the salary cap, and then you can't get anybody. So you just have a quarterback and nobody else, and then you're just going to be mediocre. So why not just try and go down and rebuild? It wouldn't make any sense. So I would just move on from Dak, honestly, if they don't do anything this year, which I don't see them doing much. Cole?
Yeah, I don't have much. You covered pretty much everything, but yeah, Tua, good for him. I mean, now you just got to make it, through the playoffs, prove some people wrong. And then the Packers, Jordan Love, one-hit wonder. I don't see it happening because I know you obviously didn't, say that, but
right.
I wouldn't see it happening because, he's been patient. He sat behind Rodgers, which is arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, probably top 5. But yeah, I mean, I think definitely he has the experience, and we saw what he could. He was virtually a couple plays away from the NFC Championship game.
True.
So a lot better than Dak Prescott, and yeah, I love to see the downfall of the Cowboys.
Definitely. So yeah, we pretty much covered everything there. Now, Cole, I've been rambling on for a little too much, so I'm going to let you cover this here. USA women's basketball. You have a prediction for them in the Olympics.
Yeah, they're not going to lose another game. I haven't said it before, but I will say it multiple times over and over. This is a team that is stacked from top to bottom. I mean, this team, they have MVPs. I mean, this team is going to do better in the Olympics than the men's team. You look at their recent game against Japan. They won by quick math, like 26. They won by 26 points, and may I add, they shot 20 from 3. 20 from 3, and they still won by 26. That's how dominant this team is. I'm excited. I'm just loving what I see here. Asia Wilson has been incredible all year round for the Aces, but I mean, now she's taken a step up in the Olympics. Obviously, Brianna Stewart, we know what she's done with the Storm and with the Liberty. Chelsea Gray, she didn't have a great game. Diane Taurasi, it's kind of more of a legacy match for her. But yeah, I mean, you got a great deep bench as well. Sabrina Ionescu, I mean, she's a great 3-point shooter.
Kelsey Plum.
Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd. I mean, this lineup is stacked. Alyssa Thomas. I mean, this is a very, very stacked lineup. I mean, I don't see them losing at all. I don't even see any team coming within 10 points of them. I think every win is double digits plus. I mean, this team is absolutely dominant. And, yeah, I don't see them losing another game.
I probably would agree with you. I don't think that's much of a hot take in my opinion. I would say because what European women players do you really see coming over to play in the WNBA? There's not too many. That's because the WNBA is not really expanded globally like the NBA, in my opinion. So USA pretty much has the women's Olympics on lockdown because there's not that many great players or even that good players overseas, which is good for us. I'm not complaining, but the USA has won 8 straight gold medals, I believe, when it comes to women's competition. So, Cole, I don't disagree with you at all. Could they lose a game? Possibly, yes, but I just don't see it happening. You have the best players in the world. Obviously, Asia Wilson is probably going to win another MVP, and her team, what is it, the Sky, I believe? Aces? Aces, yeah. I don't know why I said Sky. Aces. I think that they will probably end up winning the WNBA championship. Asia Wilson is just that good. And that great. They also have a deep bench as well, but we could get into that a different day. And then, as you mentioned, they have a deep bench. I would really like to see Diane Taurasi have one of these good games because it's probably going to be her last Olympic competition showdown. So hopefully she's able to get in there and do well. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. But we can now transition over to the men's USA team, who was having a bit of problems, and I called them out on it last week, where they only won by 1 point against South Sudan, won by 6 points against Germany. And now in the exhibition games, they dominated Serbia, and now they come out in the group play, and stuff that actually counts. And Kevin Durant comes back, and they just do absolutely incredible. I mean, there was nothing that the USA really couldn't do. They played great defense on the perimeter. They were actually trying. They did a better job closing out on defenders because international referees don't really try that much. There were better switches on the pick and rolls against teams like South Sudan. They did terrible. They learned leaving open passing lanes. They were not kicking out on 3-point shooters. They were leaving open 3-point shooters, especially Joel Embiid. He didn't do that this time. I thought they did an incredible job on defense. They communicated. They closed out the passing lanes. They were able to get the ball out in transition really quick off rebounds, which I thought which was great. And then on offense, they were passing. There wasn't turnovers. They were making their perimeter shots. Kevin Durant, thank you very much. LeBron James had a great game as well. So it feels like Kevin Durant was I don't know if you really want to say the missing piece of the puzzle, because they dominated Serbia without Kevin Durant. And now they play tomorrow, I believe, against South Sudan again. So we'll see if they can come out and do what they did to Serbia. But they really played great. They really had no flaws in this game whatsoever. I thought all the flaws that I saw defensively were completely covered up in this game. And then offensively, all the flaws, which were just pretty much making 3-point shots, were covered up by Kevin Durant because he went 5 for 5 from 3. He had an incredible game. And Cole, I will make the argument here that if Kevin Durant is able to lead USA to the Olympic gold medal, I think he's the best USA Olympic player of all time.
100%.
I don't know if it's a hot take, but
I disagree. I think Kobe, but there's no one else really. I think
Carmelo Anthony. He has 3. Yeah, he has 3 medals.
You could obviously put LeBron up there.
I can't see LeBron. Not in Olympic competition. Yeah. The reason I make the argument for Durant is that he has the top 3 scoring averages in USA history. Obviously in 2020, 2012, and 2016. He has the top 3 scoring averages in history, which is the 3 times he won Olympic gold medals. In Olympic competition, he has shot 49% from the field, 51% from 3. And if he wasn't on that 2020 team, they wouldn't have won the gold medal. They probably would have won the silver medal because France was up in that game, and he was the one who helped bring them back. And I would say this year in 2024, that where the competition now is so large, because of all the players in Europe, the competition is bigger than ever. And I would say that because in the NBA, we have not had an American MVP since 2019. Ever since then, it has been European players that have won MVP. So the competition now is higher than ever. And if Kevin Durant is the best player on this U.S. team that wins the gold medal. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't have a super team around him. All the guys did. But with the highest level of competition right now, if he's able to average a great mark, a great amount of points per game, which looks like he is going to be able to do, and lead the team to the gold medal with the highest level of competition being higher than it has been ever, I think he'll be the greatest Olympian of all time for the not the greatest Olympian of all time, the greatest basketball Olympian of all time for the United States. But that we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. Let's transition back over to baseball here. The Philadelphia Phillies making moves, obviously trading for Austin Hayes, and then just a few days ago on Saturday, right when I was watching Joe Joyce versus Derek Chisora, but I'll get into Joe Joyce later. The Phillies swung a trade. Carlos Estevez and the Phillies traded 2 apparently highly rated pitching prospects. Cole, you told me that these guys are not that good whatsoever, but I'll leave that to you and to talk about this trade.
Yeah, so, I love this trade, first of all, because we've been looking for a guy to eat up the 9th innings, and this is the guy who can do so. Opponents are hitting 170 off him. He's been absolutely incredible. on sub 2.4 ERA, 20 saves. I mean, this is a guy that we need. We haven't had a closer in forever. You could count Hector Neris, but I mean, he wasn't really
No.
He blew everything, throwing that splitter right down the middle of the plate.
No.
But yeah, I mean, these two prospects, I mean, they're very, very solid. I will give that to them. George Klassen and Aldereri. Excuse me if I pronounced that wrong.
I don't worry about it.
Anyways, they're all right, but we just have better prospects as well. I think we have one of the best pitching, farm systems out of any MLB team. I think, with Griff McGarry, with McAble, Andrew Painter, I mean, we should have a pretty loaded system. I think giving up these guys wasn't the worst thing possible. I mean, we traded away Logan Hoppe to the Angels last year for Brandon Marsh. I wasn't a fan of that, but I'm a fan of this one. I don't think these guys are the greatest, but I don't think they're the worst at all. I think they could definitely, turn into some okay role players in a couple of years, but I think, Carlos Estevez is too good right now to not take him, and I think this is a great move by the Philadelphia Phillies.
Listen, at this point, your bullpen has been terrible since 2011. I'm willing to get anything at this point. While I don't know much about the farm system. I don't really know how it works. I've stated this on multiple occasions. I don't want to give up that many. I don't want to give up. The three guys I'm not giving up is Abel, Painter, and Justin Crawford. Those are the three guys I'm not getting rid of. I don't care who else is out there. I'm not getting rid of those three guys. But anyway, I digress.
I'll touch on the prospects real quick.
All right.
Klassen, 4.22 ERA, but he does throw 100. So, I mean, that's just what they're going to get. They're going to get a guy who gets a lot of strikeouts. And then Aldereri, he's solid, but he just got promoted to AA, so not sure what his stuff's going to look like there. He did really well limiting the home run, though. I will say that.
All right. Yeah. I mean, the bullpen, you could just use anything at this point. I mean, Jeff Hoffman is eventually going to crash and burn. You guys know my feelings about him. Alvarado has been terrible these past couple of weeks. Same with Strahm. So yeah, you need something like this. You need a rebuff in the bullpen to get ready. Now the trade deadline is tonight, Cole. I thought it was tomorrow, so we were supposed to do a show tomorrow for this, but it was tonight, so we're not going to be doing that. But I will ask you a question. Actually, I have a few questions which range in many different topics. Do you see the Phillies making any other moves tonight? What specifically do you see? Do you see Luis Robert Jr. even coming close at this point?
I do see Dave Dabrowski, looking into a trade, looking what it's going to cost to get a guy like that. I think he's going to have to give up a lot. I think he's probably going to have to give up either Abel or Painter. Probably Justin Crawford, maybe even
I'm not doing that.
Aiden Miller.
No, I'm not doing it.
Any one of them.
I'm not doing it then.
I know. And that's just going to be the thing. I think he will end up he will definitely make a phone call. It's just, will he further that phone call? Will it be a 10-minute phone call, or will it be an hour-plus phone call trying to get a deal situated?
Right.
I don't think it'll happen in the end, but I would love it to happen. It would give us the full-time center fielder, I think. But yeah, I wouldn't see them getting anybody else. I said we could have gotten Eric Fetty from the White Sox, but he already got traded. I would have liked him as a fifth starter, but yeah, I mean, Tyler Phillips has been great.
He has been great. I didn't give him praise in my my recap. I didn't catch the game because I was watching the UFC. But I gave him some. I caught a little. Well, I caught a little bit of it, but I give him so much credit. He's done great. Anyway, is there anybody else you're looking at on your board right now to get for the Phillies?
I mean, you could go out and get another reliever to eat up innings. It will not be Mason Miller. I guarantee you that. Yeah. But I'm looking at some low-level teams. You could go and grab Tanner Scott from the Marlins. I could see that happening. I know they've been linked to Bellinger, but there's just no way that's going to happen. Yeah, I couldn't really see them doing anything else, really. I mean, Tanner Scott and Luis Robert, that's who I think they would get, but yeah.
All right. I'll transition. Well, not really transition, but I'll ask you. We have Riyadh season this weekend. Terrence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov. Can I get a prediction on that?
I'll go Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, me too. No doubt, Terrence Crawford. I wonder who he's going to call out. I wonder if he'll call out Canelo or if he'll call out Boots Ennis. I would assume he'll call out Canelo, which is what Turkey wants to what do you call it? Which is the fight he wants to make.
Yeah.
But yeah, and one last question, Cole. Last week, you said you didn't know who Joe Hendry was. This week, do you believe in Joe Hendry?
Yes, I do.
Yeah! There we go. Cole believes in Joe Hendry, everyone. That means he needs to win the TNA and the NXT World Championship. But now we will go to our final segment of the day. Bit of a shorter episode. Cole's got his things down there in Ocean City to do today, so we're cutting it a little bit short. But we'll definitely be back next week. That's also why we're doing this a bit earlier than normal. But yeah, let's get into Ryan's rants.
All right, first topic up. Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce, man, you were winning. You were winning over Derek Chisora, and you come out and then you look like crap in the last 2 rounds. Are you absolutely kidding me? Getting knocked down by stuff like this? I mean, what the hell are you getting knocked down about? Chisora did a great job covering up. You just were throwing like this, man. I mean, then you end up getting knocked down. You were winning that 9th and 10th round until you got put on your ass. I mean, what the hell is going on here with Joe Joyce? You should have won that fight. You were coming in as the favorite, and then you end up losing. I mean, what the hell is going on here? What the hell has Derek Chisora done since a few years ago? I mean, come on, how do you lose that fight? That was honestly ridiculous. Cole, next topic.
The Dodgers get everybody.
I'm tired of this. Why did Cole, you talked about this yesterday. Why do the Dodgers get everybody? It makes absolutely no sense. They get Ohtani. They get Glasnow. They get who else over the offseason? They never get Tommy Edman and all this stuff. Why does everybody keep trading everything to the Dodgers? Why do the Dodgers collude with everybody in the MLB? I don't know what type of money they're getting under the table. I don't know what Magic Johnson is doing. I don't know how much money he's giving or what endorsements he's given to these owners. But this is honestly ridiculous that the Dodgers just can't stop trading for people. There has to be a salary cap just for the damn Dodgers because this is getting ridiculous. Why did the Dodgers have to get everybody? Share a little bit. Share the love, man. Share the love. I mean, goodness gracious, this is honestly getting ridiculous. I mean, if the Dodgers don't win the World Series this year, I don't know what to think anymore. I'm going to lose faith in humanity again. Last topic.
The NBA, TNT, and Amazon triangle.
Now, you guys think I'm going to rant over the NBA and that they're choosing Amazon over TNT. Why the hell would I do that? TNT stock is completely going into the dump. Why would I get mad at the NBA for choosing Amazon over TNT? I would assume in the contract that the NBA is also getting a percent of new Amazon subscribers. So, and obviously the Amazon stock is rising rising up to heaven. I mean, so why would I get mad at the NBA for choosing Amazon over TNT? What I am going to rant about is that TNT should have matched Amazon's offer from the beginning and only wants to match their offer at the end when they say, "Oh, you're serious?" When the NBA says they're going to Amazon. Now listen, this whole lawsuit thing with the TNT suing the NBA has the right to choose between Amazon and TNT, and they chose Amazon. Do I blame them? Absolutely not. Now, do the fans hate it? Yes. Do I hate it? Yes. But I don't blame them. TNT should have matched this offer from the beginning. What else do you have on TNT? I guarantee you AEW is not getting it done in the ratings on TBS. Now, while their product hasn't been banned in the last couple of weeks, I mean, they're not getting it done. Everybody's watching WWE now. And you know, how many episodes of Law and Order and Black Panther and Star Wars can you play before people get bored? You need something live. You need something fresh. You need something to get people to watch your product. And with, the NBA getting a lot more offers and getting a lot more money, you should be offering whatever it is to keep around, the NBA and inside the NBA, which is what the fans love and which was what pretty much everybody loves. I'm mad at TNT, and I'm ranting about TNT because they should have made this offer from the beginning and not let the NBA go anywhere and should have made the NBA stay with them. They're not going to win a lawsuit. I guarantee you that. They might do an out-of-court settlement for a few $1 million maybe, but they're not going to get the NBA to stay. It just wouldn't make any sense for the NBA to stay. Why would I can't get mad at them. Now, I'm upset that they did it. I really wish they would have stayed with TNT, but why would I get mad at anybody? Why would you get mad at them choosing Amazon over TNT? Obviously, it's all for money, and it makes sense. For business-wise, it makes sense. Anything on these topics, Cole?
I got nothing wrong.
All righty. So, once again, a little bit of a shorter episode today. It's all good. We'll be back next week. And, I thought we had a pretty successful episode. Next week we'll obviously talk about the Phillies. We'll have UFC Fight Night reactions. Probably talk more about Team USA, the trade deadline. Talk about that. I'll actually make a trade deadline video that'll probably come out on Wednesday. And, we'll see you later. Peace.